After a long and tumultuous offseason for many general managers, Week 1 of the NFL kicked off with the long road to fantasy glory on the minds of all members of the Man's League. Although some question the use of man to describe the league, with managers such as David Tom, who look as though they are permanently about to hit puberty, and Braden Young, famous for his mangina, this league should be atop all fantasy sports leagues. Now, brought to you by our sponsor, Mike Melville's Single Chest Hair, let's take a look back at how the first week happened. In what looks like a preview for the Peasant Bowl, Mike Melville's team, creatively named Mike Melville, put up a whopping 78.18 points, carried by his juggernaut quarterbacks Peyton Manning and Joe Flacco, whose combined age of 69 almost equaled his point total. With his kicker scoring more points than his two quarterbacks combined, most fans are eager to see Mike in the Peasant Bowl for a second straight year. Now, after the draft, I'm sure that it was a lottery to see who would line up on the opposite side against Mike in Week 1, with the sweepstakes going to Braden Young's owned Jiminy Crickets. Now, in contrast, Braden's kicker totaled an unprecedented goose egg, with his quarterbacks combining for a solid 20 points, which is approximately what one quarterback should be able to score. Now, the surprise of the week was DeMarco Murray, rushing for 9 yards on 8 carries. Scoring the second lowest total of the week with 93.56 points, Braden squeaks by for a 1-0 record. In the second matchup of the week, we turn to two former league champions who both happen to be enjoying life unemployed. With the two best quarterback tandems in the league, people were anticipating a high-scoring affair between both teams. However, it was a lack of depth which took the focus. Although Here Comes the Kings running backs were a pleasant surprise, totaling a combined 31.80 points, he couldn't shake a dismal effort from his wide receivers, which the manager later attributed to an apparent injury bug. Although he cracked the century mark with 100.2 points, Thor's back to the drawing board to get his life and his team back on track. Turned down for what capitalized on his weak opposition using luck at the tight end position. Although phone logs are being requested between John and the San Diego Chargers offensive coach regarding goal line play calling, John still gets the W and the win with a 117.24 point week, riding Jason Witten's 18 points, which was more than all of Ryan's 4 wide receivers combined. The third match of the week consisted of two teams which had gone under heavy scrutiny during the Man's League draft. Aaron Nilsson's name of Chinese characters pulled out a Week 1 victory over Zandy, with an offense anchored by Gronk and a fearsome quarterback tandem of Alex Smith and Sam Bradford. Although his running backs faltered, probably all because all three were on Zandy's busts list, Aaron made quick work of TB 11.5, showing everyone why, even with strength of the running back position, who had Lynch, McCoy, and the ruthless Danny Woodhead, TB 11.5 is nothing to be feared moving forward. Brady and his solid pump and dump team looked notably edged after a gruesome Week 1 against the juggernaut Dr. Pepper. With Carlos Hyde scoring 30.2 points, the quarterback tandem of Tony Romo and Matt Ryan putting up 36.76 points, and a huge effort from both the kicker and the New York Jets defense, Brady will certainly need to reevaluate his tight end after only scoring 0.5 points. As expected, David Tom came out guns blazing, putting up 53.10 combined points over his 3 starting running backs, with 2 receiving players also scoring over 22 points each. Scoring a Week 1 high of 150.64 points, the rest of the league has some ground to make up. However, with an 0-16 record recently in fantasy medals, many managers are not overly concerned with Dr. Pepper. The last matchup of the week poised two teams who both had received some criticism coming out of the draft. Although both teams not overly touted on the official power rankings near the bottom, each showed that they are not anyone to mess with, posting the second and fourth highest totals of Week 1. With Julio Jones and his 26.1 Monday night game getting Cassie's henchmen back into the race. However, Torrey Smith wasn't able to secure a victory for his team, posting a mere 1.1 points. In fighting fashion, the Cops had and many Week 1 surprise Amir Abdullah and Tyler Eifert, the Cops relied on the erratic and questionable Minnesota Vikings offense of Teddy Bridgewater and Adrian Peterson to get the W, which resulted in a 3-point victory over Cassie's henchmen with a win of 143.7 to 139.9 points. Now, coming up, we get the panel to take a look ahead at this week's games, matchups, and much more. Thanks for watching SportsCenter.